Hey guys, welcome to the Airfix de Havilland Mosquito B16 variant from Airfix in 1/72 scale. Oops. So without further delay, let's get right into it. So I've taken a few notes. We'll look at the instructions last, as we always do. I've taken a few notes. I was really curious on everything in this. I did a little bit of research. I haven't done everything on the Mark 16 variant, or I guess the B16 variant. So without further delay, let's look at the instructions. I mean, let's look at the fuselage. I don't know what I'm saying at this point. So fuselage, there's not going to be a tunnel. There's not going to be a ton of panel lines because it was primarily a wood construction, and you know, there's like a few here and whatnot. And of course, around the engine nacelles, I think there's going to be more, given that they were metal. Interior details, very, very nice. I don't know how much you're really going to be able to see through it, but hopefully you're going to be able to see quite a bit, because that'd be a shame to lose all of that beautiful detail. One thing I did notice, however, is this is the cockpit floor, as you can see right here. And this is the inside of the cockpit. They did not mold the hatch separately, from what I could tell. So it's just going to be a static, you can't open it, and since they did that too, there's a, well, I'll try to find the part for you, but there's a hole, a window basically, and it should be able to shoot light from the top of the cockpit, from the glass up here straight down, and that's how the crew got in and out, kind of like the B-25 or the P-61. However, they didn't mold it that way. There's no hole for crews to go in and out, but that's, at this scale, it doesn't really matter. Oh, I never showed you the engine nacelles. The engine nacelles are very nicely detailed. This whole kit's very nicely detailed. There's a little bit of an inaccuracy, but I don't care too much, especially at this scale. If it were 48 or 32nd, sure, why not? 16th even, 24th, you know. But here are the wings, some more panel line detail as part of it. As I said, were metal. They look very nice. They come in two halves, to be expected from wings that are larger than this. So the interesting thing with this is that I want to figure out, is this a good beginner kit? Because there's a lot of times where you get when you're a beginner, you want to move on from just doing your standard P-51 and 70 or that Hawker Typhoon I did. You want to get more detail oriented, do something at a bigger project, and so I'm curious if this will be one of the more friendlier ones out there. Alright, and then to continue on, one thing that lends me to think this may be more beginner friendly than the average kit is stuff like these wheel hubs being separate. Usually, you know, you see they're two halves, unfortunately, but this is one wheel right here. They are weighted. I'm not the biggest fan of weighted wheels. But what I'm trying to say is the hubs are different, so you just paint those separately, you paint the wheels separately, and you plug them in, and it would look very nice. You don't have to worry about masking off the wheels, and that's the one thing that was really thought out very well with this kit, from the designer interview, is he wanted it to be simple to put together, but still be highly detailed. And this was just awesome to see too, a mask. Like, this is a physical mask. So instead of risking painting over your wheel wells, you put this in the wheel well and it will mask it off, and it's fantastic if you're doing gears down. I'm not sure what I'll do yet. Landing gear looks very nice. This is all parts to the wheel well, for the most part, and partially the engine nacelles. One cool thing is these arrows too. This is the casing, the housing for the, let me try to find them, for these guys right here, which are in halves, but that's okay too. But it tells you which way to go up and which direction they face, so there's no way you can get it backwards, which I haven't done before, but I think it's worth it for the beginner. Again, right here, sorry this isn't like the most detailed. I'm not a expert on the Mosquito. I'm just a big fan of the Mosquito. Right here, these are the extended range fuel tanks that will go on the wings. But this is the same sprue, so you get 2 of those. Next, you get like an ordnance, your ordnance, get some bombs. You don't get the big cylindrical bomb. I don't remember what they call that, but this is what the Mark 16 was developed to carry. Here are your 2 gear bay doors open, and here's the closed. So from my understanding, this was a post-war bomb bay look for towing, for like target practice and stuff, from my understanding. So the only thing, if you want to make this more accurate, which I think I might do, is just sand all this off. It's not that big of a deal. Here's the door I was talking about. It would be probably easy enough to cut it off and redo it, but I think it's a little too much work. Right here you get some more nice details. I think just fuel tanks or maybe oxygen tanks. Some more bulkheads, which look very nice. Gotta hand it to Airfix. Their stuff is very nice, and I should point out it's very cleanly molded too. It's not super soft. And then the final sprue before the clear are more of the cockpit details. And I think a little sprue like this is always telling of more variants to come in the future, when they always do little stuff like this. So maybe we'll see some different ones coming out at some point. So yeah, just again, a really fantastic detail from Airfix. Finally, the clear parts. Let me just cut these out. And they're very nicely detailed. Not very, they're very clear. I don't know what version this is for, but that's an interesting little hump. Look how here. Let me put up this behind it so you can kind of see what you're going to be able to see pretty well. Little distortion, but you can paint up this cockpit and see most of it, especially when you have the glass nose too. And one interesting part is the wingtips. They are clear, so I don't know what's up with that, but that's kind of interesting. And then never seen that before, so I'm a little taken back by that. But there's nothing that's like you look at and go, oh man, that's like not cool. Unless you're super buff of the Mosquito, then some of these inaccuracies may not be so great. But I think for the beginner so far, it's a lot of steps and a lot of parts, but I don't see why a beginner couldn't do this model. Let me readjust here. Alright, and so step 1, what you're gonna want to, I don't want to zoom too far out because then you can't see. Alright, so step 1's pretty simple enough. Step 2 is you're gonna put in all your bomb bay not your bomb bay, you're gonna put all the cockpit parts, attach this extra floor. The seats look very nicely detailed from Airfix, as we're starting to see become a standard in 72nd scale at least. Some of their 48 stuff, from my understanding, is not the greatest, but 72nd scale is really coming along. And okay, and then so for then step 11, you're gonna put in those fuel tanks or oxygen tanks, and then you're gonna you're gonna put in all of your cockpit, bomb bay. It's kind of cool that they're coloring this stuff now. More parts. I'm not gonna go through everything. I just kind of want to show you certain things. One other thing that I found really cool and very beginner friendly is landing gear can be kind of a bitch to put together. So they're using the engine, or they're using the wing as a jig, and so you can align everything, glue it. Don't glue it to the wing just yet, but just put them in there, glue everything else up, glue all this parts up, and then just make it, and then pull it out when you're ready to paint, and paint that separately, and then glue it back in, and it's good to go. And that's really, really nice from Airfix to see them do that. And then here's the mask that I was talking about. So if you're not going to do gears up, you're going to do them down. You just put the mask in so you don't ruin your paint work in there, which is always which is really cool to see. Again, just some more orientation arrows, which is super cool to see from Airfix too. So they've really made this foolproof, so somebody like me doesn't screw it up and put the wrong place the wrong way, or in the case of the F4F Wildcat, put the landing gear in the wrong direction. Again, typical with Airfix, not all 72nd. I think most at this point though. They've redone their way to make your prop spin. But yeah, those are just the real highlights. You just go over it again. Repeat the same step because it's mirrored on the other side with the wing. And then right here you can do the gear Bombay up or the Bombay open. One thing I do want to do, the Bombay up, and maybe in flight if it's swooped like this. I think that's really cool looking for some reason. I find that little hump, I guess, to be really cool. Right here you get two options, I believe I saw, for the window screen. So just make, for the side part of the windscreen, so just make sure you put the right one on. But yeah, you get a ton of options, and then the two paint schemes you do are this, which I really like, especially this part with the maintenance panel being a different color. I might actually do that on, I don't really, I like this scheme, but I don't like it more than I like this one. I've always liked the black schemes. I always thought they were really cool. So I might do something like this on this one just to have a little bit of fun. So yeah, you guys, that's it for the review. I know it's not like the most comprehensive or the best review out there, but I wanted to get it out to you guys, get my take on it. And from what I can tell, I have yet to build it yet, obviously, but from what I can tell, this looks like actually a pretty solid beginner's kit, shockingly. It's only a skill level 2, interestingly enough, but I do think a beginner with patience could make this a nice model. It's pretty foolproof. From what I've heard, it goes together great. I have yet to put it together, so I'll hurl my thoughts off on that. But yeah, guys, I will see you all in the next video, and peace.